Hey, what is up, Patreon? It's Rich. All right, welcome to Journey of a Thousand Miles. I have tons and tons of people signing up for Patreon, and I wanted to give something back to the community. And I thought what I would do is, again, I mentioned that I do try to mix it up with what I upload. So for people that are looking for inking videos, for sure look through the you can search by hashtag. Just look for inking, simple terms. If you want storytelling or penciling or figure drawing, you know what I mean, like try to keep it as simple as possible, and you should be able to find a lot of videos. And then also the other thing that you can do is, once you find a video that you like, look at the other hashtags that I used, and that should help you find more things that tie into my thought process on putting the hashtags. But yeah, I wanted to really just kind of give some general advice for people working on their art. Maybe you're working on sample packs to submit to a company. Maybe you're just working on your own comic, self-publishing. And this will be a Patreon early access, but I probably will upload this to regular YouTube, because I think it's on everyone's mind right now. I mean, comics are it's very volatile. It's changing daily. I mean, this has been going on for a long time. For people that have followed me on YouTube for more than a year or two, I've talked about this for a long time, and I'd always encouraged, in particular, pencilers to write and create their own characters. I think that's very, very important. It's something that history has shown us again and again, that you don't want to wind up having worked in comics for 20 or 30 years and you don't own anything that you created, and then you eventually like age out, or just work dries up for you and you really don't have anything to show for it. I met a man who worked at my local Vaughn's, and just over a period of time of seeing him stocking the shelves, one day we got talking, and somehow he either figured out I was a comic book artist or something like that, and he had been a Disney animator, and in fact he had worked on really big Disney movies. I think the last movie that he had worked on was maybe like Lion King or something like that. But I mean, he just eventually, he was a traditional artist that got phased out by them going more into digital things, and that could just as easily happen to you working in comics today. Maybe it's not that it went from traditional to digital, but maybe it goes from a genre of art that you do to a type of art that you don't do, or types of stories that you don't draw well. Anything can happen. But anyway, we're just going to look. I tried to find a site that had superhero comics just as visuals, and we'll kind of pop on these and we can check them out while we're chit-chatting. And so just in general, the first advice that I would give anyone interested in drawing is to create some sort of schedule for yourself. It's really, really important, and you should have a little bit of you time, your me time, where you're able to draw each day if you choose to, and it can be something as small as 30 minutes to an hour, or maybe more. What I found is the more I drew, the more fun it was, and I wish some days that I could draw for 12 or 14 hours. I wish the days were 60 hours and I could draw and draw and draw. And when you're really into it, I mean, the day flies by. It really does. So, and this is the other recommendation that I always give people is if you find yourself being critical of your work, you're probably putting pressure on yourself to deliver something. Meaning, you've set a goal for yourself. You want to draw your comic book now. You want to have a sample pack ready for a comic book convention. Although right now there's no comic book conventions, but you know what I mean. Like, you've got some sort of goal. By December, I'm going to be here, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. That is, it's great. You could definitely have those goals in place, but don't let that have it be where it starts to be counterproductive, and all of a sudden that you're not drawing or you're not working on your stuff. Also, one thing that I found, and it was interesting, is I found it doing guitar lessons, is I had gotten really back into guitar as like a hobby. So when I would be done inking for the day, it was sort of like the finish line for me was that I would sort of spoil myself with about 2 to 3 hours worth of playing guitar, which I put to the side actually because of Blaster Kid. But I learned a lot about learning, and coming back to things after breaks and things like that, because there was a lot of similarities too, where it's like, I mean, there's times where I don't get to play guitar for a year or two. It sounds crazy, but you know what I mean? If I'm real busy, like when I was working with David Finch on Forever Evil, although I think at night I remember taking breaks, meaning that like I knew, because that workload was so intense, that I was going to have a hobby, something to break up the day, something to engage my mind in different ways other than focusing on work, deadline, and we had 7 oversized books to do in a row with like every DC character you could imagine, fighting every DC bad guy you could imagine. It was a ton of work. It ended up, I think it was like 210 pages of art altogether, something like that. It was a lot. So during times like that, I always have to create a defense mechanism where I'm able to rest my mind mainly. You want to rest your body too, but you definitely have to have something that, this is really cool. I like this quite a bit. Yeah, you know, but so here's the deal though. This is what I found out was, if you find yourself always coming back to drawing, but you haven't broke through with the goals that you had, you are actually on the right track, because you're trying to figure out in your mind what is going to get you to a certain level with your art. And I saw it with guitar playing, where it was like I had goals with guitar that I had never achieved. And still to this day, I won't let it go. Until I get there, I'm never going to quit working towards these, what do you call it? Like the top of the mountain, you know, it's like if I don't plant that flag on the top of Mount Everest at some point, then it's like, but you can kind of do that with drawing too. And it's really fun. It's like, so during the day, the last like week or two, I've been finishing the script for Blaster Kid. I've been doing thumbnails for pages. I've been doing a lot of design sketches for different characters and things like that. And then the other thing that I've been doing is spending a lot of time drawing her. Tons and tons of drawings of her. Sometimes they drift into other characters. It's funny, if I don't pay attention and I just start setting up ahead, sometimes like just the rough you put down will look more like a guy, and then the next thing you know, you're not drawing the character you set down to draw, because there's not a real it's not like you're working from a script. I'm talking about like just perfecting drawing the character. But in my mind, I went like, okay, this is the lead character in my book. I have to be able to draw her really good all the time, because she's the star of the movie. Like if there is anything that I need to nail consistently in this book, it's being able to draw her from a front view, side view, underneath, above. It has to be on model to, you know, certain degree. And so you can do things like that. Like if you have a main character in your book and you find yourself sort of fractally practicing, meaning that like some days you sort of practice this and some days you sort of practice that. If you know that that's like, you want to draw Batman, or you want to draw Superman, or you want to draw your original character, that should always be part of your day. Because here's the deal with drawing comics in particular is, most pages, if you look at them, I would say that there's anywhere from probably 5 to maybe like 13 heads that will be on a page. So it's kind of one of the main things that you draw as a comic book artist is people's heads. And then probably, you know, people talk about heads and hands being like the most complicated thing to draw on a character, which, you know, I mean, I get it. The hands are very expressive, so it's like if you can have good acting with your hands, then that will be good. But I want you to get excited about this idea, because I'm always trying to streamline the thought process for all of you. But yeah, I mean, I would think that most of you kind of know what you want to draw. Maybe it's Deadpool, you know, maybe it's Spider-Man. So you know that like you're going to have to draw lots and lots of Spider-Man. So get real good at Spider-Man, you know. There's a guy that I've been friendly with online, although he doesn't really interact with me online anymore, but he loves Spider-Man, and just for years and years and years, almost all the stuff that he would draw is Spider-Man. And I think he eventually, like after about 15 or 20 years, ended up actually he's either working on Spider-Man right now, or he's had some opportunities to work on it. And that's really, really cool. But he definitely knew what his This is nice. Oh, this is really good. Who is this? Oh, I like that a lot. Look at that. Like it. I'll actually follow this page too. Um, yeah, that's cool. It's the first time I've ever seen him drawn with a beard where it kind of works for me. Um, but yeah, so maybe it's Batman. Get great at drawing Batman. So let's see. Here's some other advice. Your social media presence. I mean, we've always circled back to this, and it's funny that I basically gave you 2 bits of drawing advice, and then social media becomes really, it's in the top 3 things that you need to work on. The reason being is it takes a long time if you're starting from scratch to build a following. I know that tons of people here can relate to that. There's artists that I follow. I follow over 2,000 people on Instagram, which is very rare for most comic book artists, I think, to follow that many people. But I'm always out there just looking, and a lot of the people are just aspiring artists, and I try to support them by following their Instagrams too. And you're more than welcome, if you want to post your Instagram in the comment section below. Do it on Patreon, and I'll follow everyone if for some reason I haven't followed you yet. This is Koi Palace. This is a great piece. But what I've seen for people that are aspiring artists is it's very, very difficult to build a following. So at this point, I just would recommend you need to dive in now, and you need to start building it up, because that first 1,000 subs can be a slow burn. The first 100 can take a while, but it does get easier in things like hitting 1,000 subs on even YouTube and Instagram or Facebook, whatever it is. You can start to move sort of up the algorithm, and your stuff will get suggested more. Some of the sites like these, I was scrolling up just to show the name, superhero.comics, are kind of scammy. It's like they create sites like this and then they sell them. So they may just post everyone's art, which benefits you. If you can get your piece of art on something like this where 40,000 people are subscribed to it, it's great. But sometimes they'll private message you and they'll want to upsell you, things like that. A guitar channel that I follow, just as an experiment, bought 3 different packages from 3 different Instagram things to see if he could get some of his guitar playing videos up. But it was a test for his channel. Like the whole idea was people would view the channel, to just see how it worked. And I think he said that the cheapest one that he did worked the best, and the more expensive ones didn't get him any traction at all. But you can always reach out to a site like this. And I don't recommend paying. What I'm saying is, you could start liking their posts, and then maybe even at them once in a while with your pieces, and see if you can get thrown in the mix. Because someone like this, I don't know if this is a pro or a fan. But well, here, let's open this in a new tab and see. So 30,000 followers, that's legit, but they're pretty good. But that's more than I have. I'm not trying to build an Instagram following though, honestly. But I can see why this person has that many subs. It's nice art. I'll follow him. See how easy I am. And a lot of times I'll just knock out a bunch of these too, and I can always unfollow later. If for some reason I start seeing a lot of posts that I'm not into from a particular person, if I keep seeing their name and they're posting things I like this too, actually. Clog 2. Let's see how big Clog 2 is. And these could be bigger Instagrammers too. It's possible. 182,000. Wow. Oh, this person's like a graffiti artist. Damn. That's cool. Wow, that's cool. I'll follow this person too. See, look, he only follows 399 people. We should do the test. Like I said, I follow over 2,000. This person at least follows 1,200. Good for them. We need to support each other. It's important. I don't make a big fuss about it, but I mean, I'm telling all of you on. Oh, this is great too. And he's not even on. Man, that's nice. That's a really solid drawing, man. Looks a little like a 3D model. I'm not saying the Batman is, but it feels a little like that. But it may not be. Some people just draw really solid. It's beautifully drawn, though. Ryan John Keats. The name sounds familiar, but no, I think it's great. I think that's a great piece. I like it. Like it. This is cute. Let's see this. So let's see. Cat Mag. Who's this? Wow, 38,000. She's good though. This is nice. I like this. I'll follow her too. Screw it. Kate Shalimova, Russian. Okay. It's not as strong as other pieces. I mean, it's not... You know, what's interesting is the Robert Downey Jr. face is nice. His neck is too long. If it was a little lower in the piece, I think I would like it better. Is this the same artist? Almost kind of looks like the same person. Let's see who this is. So yeah, you want to build your Instagram following. 235,000? Damn. This is what I'm talking about. I'm sure some of you guys right now are probably feeling a little Instagram envy. This person's really good though. And it'll show how clueless I am, because maybe they're super famous and I don't know, but I don't recognize the art. Some of it looks a little familiar and then some of it doesn't. These are creepy. Cool. Alright, I'm going to follow. I'm going to follow you, Mr. 235,000. But you know, stuff like this can bum people out. So this is an artist I've never heard of. He's an illustrator, creator of fantasy art, 70s child, and all images posted here are his own. Commissions, 235,000 followers. Do you know how many professional comic book artists that are famous don't have that kind of following? Some of these people, they've got like some good hustle. He has a lot of posts, 1,900 posts. Only following 88. I'm a little disappointed in that. You need to follow more people, sir. Give back to this community. These numbers don't jibe for me. And this is the same artist? That's interesting. Let's see. That's funny. Who needs to work on their summer bodies? That's funny. All right. So let's see, what's be some other advice? I would say get on YouTube, you know, take a dip in the pool of the tube and see what you could do there, you know. I have a friend who just started a YouTube channel, or he's been on, well, James isn't who I was thinking of, but James has a YouTube channel now. But a colorist from Wildstorm started a YouTube channel, and he's trying to build up his following. He has a little bit of a weird sort of angle that he's going for. It's very macho, kind of like I'm still trying to. What's funny is I didn't really know what his channel was about, and so I subscribed to it and I liked it. It's called like Beefcake, something like that. It's a straight guy, but yeah, when I watched the first video, I was like, oh, okay, so he's really he's pumped up. Be interesting to see. But you know, he's gonna build some sort of fan base for himself. So they only have 250 posts. I'm quite surprised. Let's see who they're following. I'll try to find an artist or art thing. I don't know what all this is. Alright, let's try to find comic art. Comic sketch art. Alright, so let's look at some of these really quick. Well, it's got some art. Okay, I was worried it was just going to be all headshots and like promotional things. Let's see. Let's do there was a comic art and it was like original art. Let me see if I can find it again. Kari Anders is a friend of mine. I know him. Let's see what this is. Alright, this will be good. This is nice. Then the other thing that was recommended to me, and I actually totally agree with it, so I appreciated the oh, this was a cover for a comic book that I worked on. How funny is that? It was Deadshot, and then on the flip book it was Kabuki, or Katana, I guess. Kabuki. Oh, Kabuki is the Sim, or not Sim, David Mack character. But network. If you have a small network of people supporting your work or professionals that you're dealing with, try to grow and use each other's audiences to help you out. I mean, it's really important. And again, it's something that I neglected. I mean, I've been a professional. I have a network in place. And honestly, my networking has always been to sort of go to all of you. So although my networking is not maybe professionally grounded, I've always gone to where the people that like the art are and the people trying to learn about art and stuff like that. So I think I've networked in just an unusual way. This is great. So, oh, Jeff Dekal, he's great. If you don't follow Jeff Dekal, Dekal, follow him. He's really good. This is nice too. Who's this? Oh, yeah, I've been seeing his art. He's kind of got a little bit of like an old school style, but really, really good. It's a cool style. Arthur Adams. It's all kinds of good stuff. This is nice. I'm gonna follow this. Get a little blast of some comic stuff each day. But yeah, try to network on YouTube. Try to network with like gigs and stuff that you do. Like reach out to people. If you're a colorist, you know, it's not rude to, you know, you don't want to maybe overstep your boundaries a little bit, like contacting Arthur Adams if you're a beginning colorist and saying, hey, Art, can I get high-res scans of your art so I can color? That probably won't work, but you may be able to find someone with 1,000 subscribers on Instagram or 5,000 that's a, you know, an up-and-coming penciler. Like, I don't know who this drew this, but so French Wookie, like maybe this person doesn't have a ton of watch, they'll have like 60,000 subs. Yeah, 32. Everyone's got like huge followings now, but it's funny. I focused on YouTube, man. I think I made the right call. I'm actually very happy that I stuck to YouTube and didn't worry about Instagram as much. This is quite pal. But yeah, you know, reach out to some people that don't have huge followings, and maybe like someone like this, you know, Carlos Gomez art. Most of these people have been on Instagram for several years. See, 46,000. Yeah, 1,300 posts. But, you know, someone like this, he may be down with it. He looks like he colors his own stuff. But if you love this piece and said, hey, I'm an aspiring colorist, do you mind, like could I color this? They may not want to send you a high-res file because then they worry that you're going to make a print of it or try to sell it or whatever it is. But, you know, they might, you know, send you something decent to color on. The people need to get over this hump of like high res or not, or like high res or nothing, because it's very unlikely that you're going to have access to lots and lots of high res files unless you find them online already. So I already suggested Yandex, Yandex, and then just when you do the search engine, select largest size, and Yandex really pulls up big images. So you can put like Joe Madureira pencils, and you might be able to find a piece like this in a fairly large file, large enough to ink over for sure, large enough to color over, etc. And here's another deal, like this could be a collab, is you find someone who's a decent inker or an aspiring inker, and maybe they're doing inking samples, and so they've done an inking sample over this, and you say, hey, I love your inks, why could you send me your ink file and I'll color it, and things like that. That's networking. This is Madureira too. I feel like, I think I might have actually, like, at one point I almost was gonna do an inking demo on this piece. I feel like I printed it out, but I never did it. I don't really do tons of inking demos. I do one every couple of years just to sort of try things. Just occasionally I'll see art. This is Chris Stevens. He's real good. Dustin, I'm gonna guess. Yeah, so this is all the hit makers on this page. Arthur Adams, Bruce Timm. I don't know who this is. Gary Martin. Okay. It's nice. Very rendery. So let's see, what other advice can I give? Never give up. You see me. That's me. I'm gonna fight tooth and nail to the end. I waited for my opportunity. My dream had always been to do an Image book. Now Image is self-publishing again, but you do it on your own. But the dream came true. I just had to bide my time. It was interesting too. I can talk about this because it's a really cool story, and I think something that you guys can all consider too is, so when Image had the huge boom and everybody was making a ton of money, there were a few of the creators that sort of knew that it wouldn't last forever, and one in particular was Joe Chito. And so Joe Chito, he really worked hard during the boom, meaning that he took as many coloring jobs as he could. He was dedicated to it. And instead of celebrating that he was making a ton of money, he worked real hard and produced a lot of work and really kind of went in knowing that, hey, you know, in 3 to 5 years, this is going to kind of all settle down. And some people only did a couple of books during the boom. You know, they did 2 issues of their comic book and saw that they had made, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars, or, you know, a few $1,000,000, and it was kind of party time. And then all of a sudden, you know, 3 years later, the sales had stiffed, and the books went back to selling, you know, kind of more normal numbers. It's totally different now in a way. With the crowdfunding, you don't need to sell 100,000 copies of a book to have it successful. You just need to have really, really good relationship with your fans, really good product, and a really good, you know, rapport with people. You know, you're offering things that they want, you're delivering it in a respectable amount of time, and you're entertaining, and you're doing really good comics that they enjoy. And that's the success formula. But the thing is in the back of my mind, things that I waited for, because you have to understand, that's what got me excited about comics, was what they did. I always thought that things outside of comics, and it's really been grounded. I realized this years ago, but when Star Wars, when they did Phantom Menace, I think it was Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones. Phantom Menace was the first one when Star Wars came back. And I was like, this is going to be huge for comics, even though Star Wars wasn't a huge comic book franchise. But I said, this is going to put a huge spotlight on comics. When people see Star Wars, they're going to want more Star Wars stuff, and they're going to start going to the stores and looking for things related to Star Wars. And that might lead them to buying a Star Wars comic. And then when they're there, they see a Captain America comic, and they pick that up. And then now they're collecting Captain America, Star Wars comics, and they're buying Star Wars toys, and then it's Spider-Man, and you know what I mean? And I thought, well, if millions of people see the Star Wars movie, even if 1% of that amount of people started buying comics, there would be 100,000 new fans collecting comic books, and the sales would go up. And it didn't happen, and I went, okay, that's interesting, because I thought it would have. So this was many, many years ago. Then when the Marvel movies started to come out, and some of them were doing good, I was same kind of deal. You go like, interesting, okay, let's see what it's going to do to comic book sales. And it didn't do anything. It really didn't. It will move the needle a little bit. So at that point, I kind of knew that comics was comics, and comic fans are comic fans, but it's very, very difficult. Although I do think that every generation you have kids that get into comics. I know some kids that are between the ages of, say, 10 and 18 that are new comic book fans, and they like it all, you know. I saw a 13-year-old tear through Deceased, which is a pretty heavy-duty story and dark and pretty violent, and he loved it. He thought it was great. But so there are new comic fans coming into it, but yeah, just generally speaking, you want to build a comic fan base that are just people that like to buy comics. You know what I mean? Don't count on the movie deal. Don't count on that the success of Arkham Knight video game is going to make your Batman comics sell better, and that goes across the board. But you know, and I'm sure that there's instances. I'm sure someone could point out scenarios where I've never seen this piece, but this is really, really cool. Or if I've seen it, I don't remember it. It's interesting because it's Jim and Scott, but it has like a little bit of a Frank Miller vibe, but almost a little bit of an Arthur Adams thing too. That's R.T. Bear. But yeah, it's interesting. So you know, realize that the crowd that you're trying to build to buy your comics are mostly going to be comic book fans, but then you can find pop culture fans that you can sort of win over based on your content. You know, it could be on Instagram. I would say more likely you have a better chance of building a following on YouTube now for crowdfunding. I mean, that definitely is where the fan base is. And like I said, I took a gamble and I put all my money on YouTube and didn't do Instagram. If we go to Instagram, I'm telling you, I rarely post. I have 123 pieces up and 16,000 followers. I follow 2,074 people, but this wasn't my focus. My focus was this. and I built it on YouTube. I didn't come here and constantly promote, hey, I'm uploading new YouTube videos. I explained this to a friend of mine, the friend that just joined YouTube. I said, look, I go, it's very, very difficult. You can have 100,000 people following you on Instagram and start a YouTube channel and talk about it constantly. Uploaded a new video, got a new video up, got a new video up. I mean, they literally can't even get 2,000 or 3,000 people to come over from Instagram. It's a weird thing. I don't know why it is, but you know, I'm actually more actively doing my Instagram now, meaning that I'm finally bringing the YouTube to that. I mean, I never would post sketches before. Now I'm posting sketches every day, and later today I'll share more. I'm kind of going in order. I'm going in order from the oldest and earliest Blaster Kid sketches that I did. I put these in as a size relationship, the pencil, but to more recent things. But you know, yeah, YouTube is where it's at, I think, especially for if you want to do your own book. So let's see, what would be other advice? Always try to learn a little something new. I think that even if you pick up 1 or 2 little things each day that you actually learn, meaning that you've memorized them, that's huge, and it will really pay off for you. If you know, each day I'm trying to find something with like some anatomy, like something. Oh, that's not the best example. Let me see. Looking for something with a lot of muscles. Here's some Libra Mayo. He's got all kinds of muscles. Oh, it's small. Bummer. What do we got? Oh, a piece like this. Smart Brooks. French Wookie. Who? I don't know. I don't really know French Wookie. But, you know, what I'm saying is just like if you don't really know how to draw biceps well, you really focus on biceps and the deltoid for a day and how it attaches to the chest. This is going to be 20 minutes of your day is really, really devoting a little bit of your practice. Remember, practice and drawing are not the same thing. When you're drawing, you're drawing. Practice is done. Practice is you actually sit and you go to the batting cages and you swing the bat and you work on your technique. And that's a healthy thing. You know, you can devote a portion of your day. I would say no matter how much time you have, if you have 100% time, you should be practicing 10% of the day, 10 to 20. You know, if you want to, like, if you're going to go through spring training and you want to heavy load the practice, then that's fine. But then you need to create a time frame for how long you're going to practice. You're going to practice for a week. You're going to practice for 2 weeks. You're going to do a 6-week intense like dive. But make sure that you have an ultimate finish date where the practice ends and then you get back to drawing, okay? All right, I'm going to end it there. I need to get to work, but that's a lot of really, really good advice for you. And let's start a conversation about it. You let me know what you think. Are there other questions that you have? Other recommendations you could make? Other things that you think that people should focus on? It all adds to the conversation. This is great. This is Carrie Nord, right? I mean, oh, Tom Fowler. Interesting. That's funny. Kari did a cover. I guess maybe a few people have done it. I'm thinking, not Kari Nord. Kari Andrews did a piece like this. And I think Scotty Young has done something like that too. That's funny. It's a Norman Rockwell piece, right? It's like a cop talking to a little kid, something like that. All right, have a great day. I'll talk to you guys later, and good luck with everything. Bye.